All right, let's talk about Finnish Lapland. When you picture the absolute peak of winter magic, this is it.
Oh, for sure. It's the place that promises all those storybook scenes, right? Reindeer gliding through fresh powder.
The primal thrill of a husky sled pulling you across a frozen lake, that shimmering curtain of the northern lights.
And of course, the literal, verifiable home of Santa Claus. It is the ultimate December bucket list trip.
It sounds like pure, unadulterated fantasy, doesn't it?
It really does. But here's the reality check. Our mission today is to determine precisely where that fantasy breaks down and, where the genuine magic actually begins.
Right. We recently stress tested a 5-day trip into the Arctic Circle.
And we did it during the most expensive and crowded time of year, peak Christmas season.
And we didn't go as, like, luxury travelers with an unlimited budget.
Or as hardy backpackers who don't mind roughing it.
We are focused squarely on you. The normal couple with limited vacation time, a strict budget, and this is the critical factor for this analysis, a deeply ingrained low tolerance for standing in long lines.
A really low tolerance for feeling herded or dealing with major crowds.
We're here to deliver the unfiltered appraisal. Is Lapland worth the financial hemorrhage and the logistical hustle?
We're going to give you the blueprint for navigating that Arctic rush efficiently. We'll get to the specific financial matrix at the end, and we'll tailor it for different traveler types.
But we have to start with the boldest, most immediate piece of advice we have.
It's the contrarian claim that fights against every Instagram influencer out there.
Which is?
Do not stay in a glass igloo.
Whoa, wait. You cannot just drop a bomb like that and walk away. That is the dream.
Oh, no, I know.
Every single promotional photo, every major travel brochure, it all hinges on that crystal clear dome under the stars. So why? Why should the mid-range traveler actively veto the glass igloo?
Okay, because for the mid-range price point, it is a genuine financial trap and, honestly, an aesthetic disappointment.
A disappointment. How?
Well, you are paying 5-star pricing, and we're talking easily starting at $800 a night during peak season.
$800.
For what is essentially a slightly heated, glass-roofed room. So why is it bad value? First, the privacy is zero.
You're in a clear bubble.
You're in a clear bubble. You are generally situated in a crowded field with dozens of other glass bubbles right next to you, so forget intimate moments. You're in a fishbowl.
So it's less private winter romance and more Arctic campground with fancy ceilings.
Precisely. And secondly, unless you pay top-tier money for the newest structures, condensation is a massive issue.
Oh, I hadn't even thought of that.
Yeah, when it's minus 20 degrees outside and you're inside breathing, the glass often fogs up.
So it obstructs the very view you paid the premium for.
It completely obstructs it. And here's the kicker. The northern lights are easily visible just outside a standard, warm, private cabin for literally 1/4 of the cost.
So you're saying just walk outside.
Just walk outside, save that $600 a night, and put it toward a private husky tour instead. It offers far, far greater experiential value.
Okay, that is a huge adjustment to the dream itinerary right out of the gate. So let's expand this. What were the 3 biggest unavoidable reality surprises that defined this trip for you?
Number 1 is the climate phenomenon itself, the darkness.
And this goes way beyond just the sunsets early.
Way beyond. We are talking about the true polar night, or kamos, as they say in Finnish.
Almost.
And it's a dramatic climate difference where, during the core winter months, the sun genuinely does not rise above the horizon at all.
So it's not just dark early, it's an all-day twilight.
Exactly. For maybe 2 hours a day, typically between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m., you get this ethereal, deep indigo blue hour. It's stunning aesthetically, but it is constant twilight.
And that kamos must affect everything.
Oh, it fundamentally impacts everything. Your energy levels just plummet, you become utterly reliant on artificial light, and critically, it forces a hyper-specific schedule.
For any outdoor activity, I imagine.
Any activity that requires visual clarity. You're constantly chasing those 2 hours of functional light.
That's a fascinating physical and psychological factor we had not fully prepared for. Okay, surprise number 2.
The sheer commercial volume of Santa. We're calling it the Santa economy.
Right. If you arrive expecting a silent, quaint, isolated village...
Rovaniemi will be an acute shock. It's less a cozy Arctic retreat and more a A highly efficient, well-oiled international theme park strip mall.
Especially at the Santa Claus Village.
Oh, absolutely. The expectation of quaint solitude is completely obliterated by the reality that this whole operation is powered by massive international tour buses. The business model is incredibly sharp, but it feels jarringly corporate when you're there trying to find some winter magic.
And surprise number 3, which is actually a genuine, delightful revelation.
The food.
Yes, the food.
Yeah, so travel guides often push the fancier, heavily stylized, and very expensive reindeer dishes.
Which, frankly, were often a bit disappointing.
They were. The true culinary peak of Lapland lies in the rustic, simple, local fare.
So embrace the tradition.
Totally. We're talking about the rich, concentrated flavor of cloudberries, the incredible warmth and heartiness of a thick salmon soup.
Mojicado.
Lohikado, yeah. And the nutty, distinct taste of dark rye bread. The moment you stop forcing the fancy Arctic gastronomy and just lean into the traditional soups and stews, the food value and the quality go way, way up.
So we did find pockets of breathtaking magic, but let's lead with the unavoidable truth.
The cost.
The cost! Even with every corner we cut, every cost-saving measure we implemented, this was, dollar for dollar, one of the single most expensive 5-day trips we have ever benchmarked.
We were hemorrhaging money from day one. It's true.
But by the time we finish this deep dive, you will have the surgical knowledge required to navigate those costs, to schedule around the darkness, and to entirely avoid the most egregious Disneyfication pitfalls of the whole Arctic experience. So let's unpack this with a deeper look at the context and, the clash between your idealized expectation and the Arctic reality. We chose December because it is the classic advertised time. It's supposed to be guaranteed deep snow, the whole Christmas narrative.
And theoretically peak aurora chances.
Yeah.
And that idealized expectation is powerful, right? It's fueled by these glossy brochures.
Yeah, you picture that untouched, pristine snow, the deep silence, maybe a cozy log fire.
And those northern lights dancing overhead while you're sipping hot berry juice. That image, it sets the bar incredibly high.
It really does. I certainly had high expectations, especially about the functional efficiency.
What do you mean by that?
Well, Finland is famous globally for its clean, efficient infrastructure, high quality of life, systems that just work. I expected seamless public transport and spotless, high-quality hotels.
And that expectation runs light first into the reality shock of Rovaniemi, the regional capital.
It really does, especially for our crowd-hating listener.
It's truly jarring. You land in the snow, but Rovaniemi is not some quaint medieval logging village preserved by ice.
Not at all. It was almost entirely destroyed in World War II.
And when they rebuilt it, they hired the legendary Finnish architect, Alvar Aalto. But the result is, well, it's a highly functional, concrete, and distinctly modern city.
So it was built for efficiency, not necessarily for that storybook charm.
Exactly. It looks like a standard modern Nordic hub, which totally contrasts with the surrounding wilderness.
And this modern functional city is where all the major tourist operations are centered.
Yep. The Santa Claus Village, just outside the city, is where the crowds are the most intense.
If you loathe crowds, tell me, what's the experience like?
I mean, standing in line for 45 minutes, not even to see Santa, but just to cross the symbolic Arctic Circle line for a photo.
Wow.
While you're surrounded by hundreds of people in giant idling coaches, it is acutely stressful. It's a sensory overload of noise, people, and the smell of diesel.
So I have to challenge you a bit on this. If Rovaniemi is this functional concrete hub, where did the magic survive? Was there any design element that acknowledged its unique location? Did Aalto maybe miss a major design opportunity?
That's a great question. And the magic did survive, but it's in the details, away from that commercial strip. Aalto did actually lay out the city in the shape of a reindeer's head and antlers.
Ooh.
Yeah, which is a wonderful, subtle nod to the local culture. But practically speaking, you don't notice that unless you're looking at an aerial map.
So the city's primary focus is on being a working administrative center.
Functional first, magical second. That's the vibe.
But here is where it gets really interesting for me. The moment you break free from those specific tourist circles, the Santa Village, the airport transfer hubs, the reality shifts completely.
Absolutely. The silence we imagined is absolutely real the moment you step off the main path.
And the snow.
The snow is impossibly deep. We're talking meters deep off the marked trails. And the trees. The trees become the focus of this unique Arctic beauty.
They aren't just snow-dusted, it's more than that.
It's way more. They look like incredible, heavy, frosted sculptures because they're so densely coated in frozen snow and ice.
Is there a word for that?
There is. The Finnish term for this is tiki.
Kiki. It's such a specific, beautiful aesthetic. Can you explain that phenomenon a little more? Why are the trees so dramatically covered here compared to, say, a standard ski slope?
It's a microclimate product of humidity and intense, sustained freezing fog. So the high humidity in the air freezes instantly onto the pine needles and branches, and it just accumulates layer upon layer until the tree is completely encased.
And it must be heavy.
Oh yeah, sometimes they're bending under the sheer weight of the ice. It's a silent, natural art installation, and it truly provides that desired feeling of walking through a fantasy world.
So the tension of the trip is exactly this dichotomy. The expectation is magic everywhere, totally effortless.
And the reality is magic in beautiful, silent pockets, but those pockets are sandwiched between frustrating, group-heavy, and expensive logistics. You have to actively schedule your silence.
And this brings us back to the mid-range traveler's constraint. If you demand that deep, private, silent experience, you have to adjust your budget or your location.
Or both. To keep costs mid-range, you are, by necessity, accepting a very group-heavy experience. You'll be on a bus with 20 other people.
You'll see those groups of 30 people all wearing the identical rented thermal overalls.
Exactly. True privacy and isolation are reserved for the luxury price tier. That is the unavoidable trade-off.
All right, let's move to the physical experience. Arrival, impressions, and all those sensory details. Most listeners are going to arrive via Rovaniemi Airport, RVN.
And it plays the part perfectly. It is the official airport of Santa Claus, and I have to admit, the small details are charming.
Like what?
You've got these reindeer stuffed animals on the baggage carousel. The Christmas decorations are actually tasteful. It really does raise the excitement level.
But then you step outside,
Yeah.
and the true Arctic climate hits you.
Oh, it's a physical sensation unlike anything else. The cold is not just a temperature. It is a physical weight that settles on your exposed skin.
What was it when we landed?
It was about minus 15 degrees Celsius, that's 5 degrees Fahrenheit, which locals genuinely considered a mild, pleasant day.
A mild day. I remember the air itself, though.
The air is intoxicating.
Yeah.
It's dense, pure, and has this distinctive smell of being frozen clean. It's almost metallic, but incredibly crisp. That first deep lungful of Arctic air is exhilarating.
But then the logistics start, and immediately you are hit with the intense price signals.
Immediately. The airport bus is functional and efficient, but it's packed. And if you opt for a taxi to the city center,
Which is only a 10-minute drive.
a 10-minute drive, and you're immediately dropping 25 to 30 euros.
That high price point is your immediate welcome to Finnish labor costs and service fees. I have to ask, why is a 10-minute taxi ride so exorbitant? Is it just supply and demand?
It's a combination of factors, primarily the high cost of labor and specialized vehicles. Every vehicle operating in that climate requires specific winter tires, specific maintenance, and often specialized engine heaters just to function in the extreme cold.
So you're paying a premium for reliability.
Not just for the ride, but for the functioning infrastructure that allows that vehicle to operate safely in minus 20 degrees. It's not a cheap place to run a business.
Okay, so once we hit the Rovaniemi Center, we went for a walk to explore. And this was the moment of reality for the crowd hater, who was also a crowd walker.
It was. The city center lacks that immediate cultural warmth. It's a standard Nordic town, clean, functional, but hosting the familiar presence of an H&M and the global burger chains.
And the physical challenge is immediate and constant.
The sidewalks are treacherous. They are sheets of slick, packed ice.
It's not like fresh snow at all.
No, unless you have the correct footwear, you are reduced to walking like a cartoon penguin, just slowly shuffling with these wide, desperate steps to maintain balance.
That constant vigilance about slipping is mentally taxing.
It really is. Then you add the daylight limitation.
Yeah.
It is properly dark by 2:3 p.m.
So you're fighting the elements just to get to dinner, but then the magic found its way in.
It did, even amidst the streetlights and the commercial blocks.
We looked up, and even faintly, you could see the green shimmer of the aurora starting to stretch across the sky.
And the most incredible part of that moment, the locals were just walking their dogs.
Totally unfazed.
Completely.
Yeah.
They were treating this celestial ballet, this bucket list phenomenon we had flown thousands of miles and spent thousands of dollars to see, as perfectly normal background noise.
That was the visceral reminder that you are truly in the Arctic.
A place where the unimaginable is routine.
So, synthesizing those first 24 hours, you experience manufactured chaos at the major tourist hubs.
Loud, commercial, stressful.
But if you walk a few blocks down to the Uunistjoki riverbank, which is frozen solid and completely walkable, you find surprising serenity.
And that quiet contrast defines the whole trip. The quiet pockets are there, but you have to actively seek them out.
Now we enter the core financial section, the cost and value matrix. Let's not mince words here.
No, we can't.
Lapland in December is inherently and unavoidable expensive. We need to prepare the listener for the wallet shock.
There is no navigating around this expense profile. We watch the budget line items just multiply at a terrifying rate. And we are tracking costs for a mid-range couple seeking comfort but not, extravagance.
Okay, let's start with accommodation. For a private, decent, standard hotel room with central heating, which is not a luxury, it's a survival necessity.
It's mandatory.
You are budgeting between $300 to $500 per night during the peak season.
$300 to $500. If you desire the cabin experience, you immediately jump over $600 a night. And as we establish, those tempting glass igloos start at $800, cementing them firmly outside the mid-range budget.
And here is the crucial value insight that justifies the pain. Accommodation is often poor value for the amenities.
Yes, this is so important.
You're paying five-star destination prices, but the quality of the actual room, the thread count, the on-site service often registers as 3-star.
So what are you paying for? You're paying a massive premium for the sheer fact that the building exists and functions reliably in the Arctic Circle in December.
Given the supply and demand crunch.
Exactly. You are paying for reliability, not for luxury.
Okay, next up, food costs. This is a sneaky budget killer because the cold dictates your caloric intake.
You absolutely must eat hearty, calorie-dense food to maintain warmth and energy. You cannot just skip meals.
So a simple Lunchable of that incredible thick salmon soup and a coffee, what's that going to run you?
That will absolutely run you $25 to $30 per person.
If the food is so simple, why the sky-high price tag?
Two main reasons: high labor costs and high Finnish taxes, particularly the VAT on prepared food. That $30 salmon soup reflects premium wages for the chef and high taxes on the ingredients and the service.
So the quality is there, but the price reflects the entire ecosystem.
It does. The seafood is high quality, the ingredients are fresh, and the infrastructure needed to transport and store food is expensive. You aren't being scammed, you are just paying the true cost of operating a business at 66 degrees north.
And dinner is where the budget explodes.
Oh yeah. A moderate dinner out with even one glass of wine per person will easily hit $60 to $80 per person.
And if you get tempted by the fancier reindeer mains, you can quickly hit $100 a person.
Easily. Our primary mitigation strategy: absolutely leverage the huge, comprehensive buffet breakfasts that are included at almost every hotel.
This is key. Load up on dark rye, eggs, porridge. Make that your caloric anchor for the day.
For sure. Now, transport costs are punishing if you rely on ad hoc taxis. We established that a quick 15-minute taxi ride is $40.
And if you choose to rent a car, it gives you freedom, but
you're looking at $100 plus per day just for the rental. Then you're dealing with costly European gas and the extreme stress of driving on specialized studded tires on packed ice. It is mentally challenging.
Now the biggest budget exploder, the non-negotiable expense, activities.
You cannot DIY the bucket list. You have to book with a tour operator.
So a standard 2-hour husky safari, which involved about 10 kilometers of sledding time. What's the damage?
That costs around $180 per person.
A reindeer farm visit with a short sled ride.
About $150 per person.
And a standard 2-hour snowmobile tour.
Around $200 per person. So if you do 3 activities, you've just spent $500 per person before you've even had dinner.
And here's the necessary granularity. Those $180 tours are the high-volume cattle class experiences.
They are not small private groups. To upgrade that husky safari to a smaller group, say a max of 8 people, or a longer 4-hour track, you are easily jumping into the $400 to $500 per person range.
Which is why booking far in advance is crucial. The small group slots are highly coveted.
And we also have to account for the hidden costs.
Right. If you don't already own high-end expedition gear.
Thermal clothing is mandatory. We're talking true Arctic conditions. If you need to rent a full thermal kit parka, specialized boots, gloves, balaclava, a week's rental can cost $100 to $150 per person.
You cannot skip this. Comfort and safety are paramount.
And if you follow our advice and try to escape the Rovaniemi crowds, your transfer costs add up. Getting from Rovaniemi up to a quieter spot like Levi or Yills.
What's that look like?
It'll cost about $40 per person via an organized bus service, or a staggering $200 if you choose a taxi for that 2 or 3 hour journey.
So let's synthesize the damage. Excluding the cost of flights to get you there in the first place for a 5-day trip for our mid-range, crowd-hating couple, what's the final number?
We are realistically budgeting between $450 to $700 per person per day.
That is a brutal baseline. So if accommodation is such poor value paying 5-star prices for 3-star rooms, why not just go to a cheaper destination like Iceland? What makes Lapland's 3-star worth this price?
That is the essential question. The value is not in the material luxury. It is in the infrastructure, reliability, and safety. You are paying for the guarantee that your guide is professionally certified, that the snowmobiles are meticulously maintained, and that if something goes wrong, the Finnish medical and rescue systems are world-class.
So you're buying peace of mind.
You are buying high functionality and safety in an inherently dangerous environment. That's the primary difference between a pricey trip that works and a cheaper trip that might leave you stranded. Okay, let's pivot to segment 5. Logistics, planning traps, and most importantly, the fixes. If you're going to invest that kind of money, you need to navigate these planning traps flawlessly to maximize your value.
Right. For local movement within Rovaniemi, it's either walking that slow penguin shuffle we talked about or using the Santa's Express bus.
Which is cheap but crowded. Further north in the ski resorts, specialized ski buses are the main mode of transport, and they are reliable.
A huge logistical win is the connectivity and the language ease.
Oh, Finland is a planner's dream. Navigation via Google Maps is simple, and they boast absolutely amazing 5G coverage, even deep in the wilderness where you'd expect nothing.
What's the best way to get connected?
Grab a Niisamere or Holafly before you land. And language. The English is impeccable.
Yeah.
The language barrier is genuinely zero, which dramatically speeds up logistics and removes travel stress.
But let's get into the pitfalls, starting with planning trap number 1, the Rovaniemi city center trap.
This is a fatal mistake. Thinking that a hotel downtown puts you in the middle of the magical wilderness. It absolutely does not.
You're in a modern commercial district.
Exactly. The fix is non-negotiable. Do not base your entire trip downtown if you hate crowds. Stay 20 minutes outside of the center, or even better, take the bus north immediately to smaller, quieter hubs like Yiles or Sarisilke.
And why is that better?
Because these locations offer immediate access to the tiki forests and wilderness trails, meaning you don't need expensive daily transfers just to find silence.
Okay, planning trap number 2, the daylight denial. People make this mistake because they forget about combos.
Yeah, they look at the clock and they plan sightseeing or a hike for 3 p.m. based on their Southern Hemisphere internal clock.
And at 3 p.m., especially during the polar night.
It will be pitch black, functional light. That indigo blue hour aesthetic only exists for 2 hours.
So the fix is rigid scheduling.
Super rigid. Schedule all your outdoor visual activities. Anything requiring decent light for photography or just appreciating the landscape between 10:00 a.m. and 1:00 p.m. That is your narrow window. Dedicate the vast, energy-draining dark hours to indoor activities like museums, saunas, and lingering dinners.
What's the best way to capture that specific twilight light? It's so low and blue.
That's a great point. You need to understand that your eye adapts, but cameras struggle. For that perfect indigo aesthetic, you need a tripod, and you have to deliberately underexpose slightly to retain the deep blue tones. That low-angle indirect light is what creates the perfect background for the tiki trees.
So you have to be ready for it.
You only have about 30 minutes of that peak blue, so you must be ready.
All right, planning trap number 3, the last-minute heartbreak. This is maybe the most painful error.
It really is, because it involves a massive financial commitment to even get to Lapland, followed by total failure to execute the fun part. We met travelers who arrived in December and were just frantic because every desirable tour was booked solid.
Everything was sold out.
Everything. The fix for December travel is strict and must be noted in capital letters. You must book your key activities, especially the small group tours our target couple prefers, by September.
September, that's early.
The desirable operators, the small local outfits that take only 8 people in a quiet minibus, they sell out first.
So how do you vet a good small group operator when you're booking online from thousands of miles away?
Look for specific criteria in the tour description. Maximum group size 8 to 10 people is ideal. Direct pickup from specific smaller accommodations and clear language about avoiding the essential Rovaniemi departure points.
And check the reviews.
Yeah, check reviews that specifically mention the size of the bus or the group. Waiting means you're forced into the huge 50-person coach tour experience, which is the antithesis of the quiet Arctic retreat you paid for.
And finally, planning trap number 4, the Aurora hunting tour trap. This one is a pure money drain if you don't plan it correctly.
It really is. You pay $150 to sit in a van driving around, but if the cloud cover is 100%, you're essentially paying to look at the underside of clouds in the pitch black.
So what's the fix?
The fix here requires technology and ruthless flexibility. Download an Aurora Forecast app. There are several good ones like My Aurora Forecast that track solar activity, the KP index, and local cloud cover in real time.
So you don't book it in advance.
Do not book a tour weeks in advance. Book it if you must, only 24 hours out if the forecast shows both high solar activity and a clear sky window.
And if not,
Otherwise, save the money, ensure your accommodation is away from major city lights, and simply walk outside 100 yards for free viewing opportunities. The best view is often right above your head.
let's talk about safety, comfort, and authenticity, beginning with safety basics, which is a massive selling point for Finland.
It really is. Finland is consistently ranked as one of the safest countries on Earth. Crime is virtually non-existent. You are safe walking around, leaving your belongings, trusting the local infrastructure. You never feel uneasy about your person.
So the real danger is entirely environmental.
Precisely. The single biggest safety risk is slipping on the ice. The packed snow sidewalks in Nordic countries are not like fresh powder. They are solid, slick sheets of concrete hard ice that offer zero traction.
We saw multiple hard falls.
We did. The fix here is non-negotiable. You must bring crampons, those rubber and spike attachments you slip over your boots.
Are standard winter boots or snow trainers not enough?
Absolutely not. They will fail you on the slick, packed ice. For city walking, you want a coil or a spring-type crampon. They're lighter and less aggressive.
And for the wilderness?
If you're venturing into the wilderness, look for something with small, durable spikes. Do not rely on your regular footwear. It is simply inadequate for Arctic conditions and can easily lead to a sprained ankle, which would ruin your trip instantly.
And we must talk about the physical reality of the trip, which we've labeled cold stress. This is the silent killer of energy and enjoyment.
It is genuinely physically exhausting. The process of layering is demanding and constant. Going outside requires 20 minutes of meticulous preparation. Thermal base layers, mid-layer fleece, heavy snow pants, parka, 3 pairs of gloves, balaclava.
And then you walk for 10 minutes in minus 15 degrees.
You enter a heated shop, and you start sweating instantly under the sheer weight of the insulation.
That moment when you start frantically delayering is the worst.
It is. You peel layers off, only to exit the shop 5 minutes later, and you're freezing immediately because the sweat has chilled on your skin.
This constant cycle of dressing, sweating, freezing, and temperature monitoring, it's relentlessly demanding on the body.
It is. I spent most of the trip feeling like I was wrestling myself out of a sleeping bag every hour.
So, if the trip is mentally fulfilling, is it physically relaxing?
No, not at all. Mentally, you feel safe, secure, and unscammed. But physically, you are constantly engaged. You're monitoring your temperature, your footing, and calculating your exposure time. It's an intensely physical experience.
So an active mental break, but a physical workout.
That's a perfect way to put it.
In terms of accessibility for travelers with mobility issues, how did Lapland fare?
Main areas, airports, major hotels, and the Santa Village paths have decent accessibility with ramps and even some heated sidewalks in the major centers.
But the activities.
The true bucket list activities are challenging. Getting into a sled, walking through deep, unmarked snow in the forest, or climbing onto a snowmobile definitely requires significant mobility and stamina.
Finally, let's touch on authenticity. We've discussed the commercial pressures. How do we ensure the traveler engages respectfully with the culture, not just the tourism machine?
The Sami people are the indigenous inhabitants of this region, and you have to be wary of the mass-produced plastic souvenir Sami knickknacks that are sold widely, particularly in the Rovaniemi Center.
So how do you find the real thing?
If you're looking for authentic, respectful crafts, look specifically for the Sami Duwaji label.
Sami Duwaji.
This label signifies a genuine piece of Sami handicraft made using traditional methods and materials. Buying with this label ensures you are supporting the culture directly and ethically. If it looks like cheap plastic mass-produced in Asia, avoid it entirely.
Let's move to the most rewarding part of the analysis. Segment 7, the highs and lows. What truly justified the press and what fell flat. Give me your #1 highlight, that moment where the physical discomfort and the wallet shock completely dissolved.
My highlight was the unexpected silent nature experience, finding the true magic of the Arctic wilderness away from the engines and the crowds. We were in Josis, about 2 hours north of Rovaniemi.
Right.
We rented snowshoes for maybe 20 euros for the day and just followed a marked trail no guide, just us and a map. It was 11 a.m.
That precious Kamos twilight window.
Exactly. The sun was just below the horizon, bathing everything in that magnificent low-angled blue hour aesthetic. The entire landscape was painted in deep indigo and violet tones.
And the tiki.
The sheer density of the tiki was unbelievable. The trees genuinely looked like giant, silent, alien sculptures. We stopped in the middle of a clearing and the silence was absolute.
No traffic, no talking.
Nothing. Just the faint crunch of our snowshoes and the sound of my own breathing. Stopping to pour hot berry juice from a thermos in that total stillness was genuinely otherworldly.
And the power of that highlight for our target audience.
It cost almost nothing, just the snowshoe rental, and had zero crowds. It demonstrated that the most profound magic in Lapland is free, provided you put in the effort to seek the silence. It was far more memorable than the $180 husky ride.
Which, while thrilling, felt logistically exhausting.
Exactly.
My number one highlight was the deep immersion into authentic Finnish culture. The sauna. We rented a private sauna at our accommodation for an hour. Can we talk about the full ritual? It sounds insane to the uninitiated.
The ritual is central to Finnish identity. You start with the intense heat, often 80 to 90 degrees Celsius. You throw water on the stones, the loili, which creates a wave of intense, moist heat.
You sit there until you are just steaming.
And then, the crucial step, you run outside, and it was -10, and you roll in the snow.
That shock is incredible. It feels like you're doing physical violence to yourself.
But the immediate aftermath is an insane, dizzying endorphin rush. Your blood vessels are contracting and expanding so rapidly. It felt culturally authentic, deeply invigorating, and was completely non-touristy.
And it's great value.
It is. A private hour only costs about $30 to $50.
Now, for the inevitable disappointment, we have to call out the biggest failure to deliver.
For our target crowd-hating listener, it has to be the Santa Claus Village. I wanted to feel the magic, but it is the red zone. It is a pure, unvarnished consumerist machine designed to move people and money efficiently.
The environment is stressful.
Totally. The line to meet Santa himself is technically free, but the moment you get in front of him, taking your own photo is strictly prohibited.
And you're forced to buy their file.
For a painful 40 or 50 euros. The restaurants are loud, packed cafeterias designed for rapid turnover.
My advice remains. Go once, quickly see the Arctic Circle line, mail a postcard from the official post office for the novelty, and then leave immediately before the commerce gets its hooks into you.
My disappointment wasn't the setting, but the logistics of the activities we paid so much for. Take the husky safari. The actual 20 minutes of being pulled by the dogs is a high point.
But the lead up.
But the cattle class activity logistics surrounding it are brutal.
Describe the onboarding process. Make it visceral.
You are herded with 40 or 50 other people into a tiny, poorly ventilated locker room to change into the mandatory thermal gear. It smells intensely of wet socks and damp wool from previous groups. You're constantly jostling for space.
Line after line.
You wait in line after line for the gear, for the briefing, for the sled assignment. It truly felt like an assembly line, incredibly noisy and impersonal, until the moment the sled started moving, the dogs howled, and the noise of the logistics faded into the quiet forest.
That's a crucial warning. The traveler needs to mentally prepare that even the nature activities require enduring that cattle class assembly line process unless they're willing to pay for the extremely exclusive private tours.
The magic is earned after the logistical pain.
Okay, let's move to segment 8, alternatives. If Lapland in December feels too financially intense or too logistically crowded, where should our traveler go instead to satisfy that winter itch?
Alternative number 1, Tromsø, Norway. This is where you go if your priority is better food and a strong, accessible city vibe alongside the Arctic beauty.
Right, Tromsø is coastal, which means it benefits from the Gulf Stream. It makes it slightly warmer and less harsh than inland Lapland.
And crucially, it offers dramatic fjords and often superior whale watching opportunities, which Finland lacks entirely. Comparison-wise, it is equally expensive, perhaps even slightly more so than Lapland, due to Norway's general cost of living.
Still crowded, I assume.
Still crowded during Aurora season.
Yeah.
But it feels more like a functioning, bustling city with cultural depth museums, established restaurants, than a destination that exists solely as a theme park for winter activities.
It's a different kind of Arctic experience, fjord-focused rather than forest-focused.
Exactly.
All right, alternative number 2, Tallinn, Estonia. This is your budget-friendly, historic Christmas market option.
If your primary goal is the feeling of old medieval buildings, snow on cobblestones, a great traditional Christmas market atmosphere, and very good food, Tallinn is a superior choice.
And here's the major financial difference. Tallinn is easily 1/4 the price of Lapland.
1/4. Accommodation, dining, transportation, all significantly cheaper. It's crowded, but manageable.
The trade-off, however, is clear.
Very clear. No guaranteed northern lights, no wild reindeer, and no true Arctic wilderness. It sacrifices the unique fauna and geography of the Arctic Circle for historical charm and affordability.
Now, if you are absolutely dead set on Lapland, you hate the Rovaniemi crowds, and you want to ensure genuine silence, we found a better Lapland option.
Inari or Sarisilke.
This is the smart pivot.
It is. The further north you travel from the Rovaniemi hub, the wilder, quieter, and more authentic the environment becomes. The best approach is to fly into Ivalo, IVL, which is the regional hub for the deep north.
And Inari is the center of Sami culture.
Yes, it's much quieter and offers a more respectful, wilder wilderness experience.
So a suggested itinerary would be a compromise that balances the bucket list with the desire for silence.
What's the plan?
Spend one night in Rovaniemi, just enough to see Santa, get the box checked, experience the chaos, then immediately take the bus 3 hours north to Sarisilke for 4 nights of actual genuine nature.
Quiet snowshoeing and superior free aurora viewing away from the light pollution.
Perfect. So let's conclude with the final, is it worth it? Matrix, tailored specifically to different traveler profiles based on all the data we've gathered.
Let's do it.
Budget backpacker. The verdict is NO.
Hard no. It is prohibitive, public transit is too costly, cheap accommodation is scarce, and the mandatory activities will financially destroy a strict budget traveler. Go to the Baltics instead for a better winter experience.
Family trip. The verdict is yes.
It is, if you have the financial means. The sheer, undeniable magic of the elves, the snow slides, and the guaranteed Santa experience makes it priceless for children.
Just accept the brutal logistics of having to dress and undress children in bulky snowsuits multiple times a day.
Oh, yeah. Prepare for that.
Luxury traveler, the verdict is yes.
A resounding yes. This destination scales up flawlessly. If you can spend $1,500 to $2,000 a day, you can bypass all the crowd issues with private transfers, true secluding glass igloos with no neighbors, private chefs.
Customized, crowd-free activity experiences.
If money is no object, the experience is flawless.
Which brings us back to our target, the mid-range couple who hates crowds.
The verdict is mixed.
It's a YUS only if you follow our rigorous, financially protective advice. Do not base yourself in Rovaniemi.
Do not do it. Go. But base yourself 20 minutes outside a smaller town, like Levi or Yiles, or travel straight to Sarisilke. Rent the thermal gear. Do not buy it for maximum comfort and cost efficiency.
And critically, focus your spending on free or low-cost nature.
Snowshoeing, hiking marked trails in the Tiki Forest, utilizing those free opportunities to hunt the auroras on foot over, booking 5 expensive crowded tours.
And for food,
stick to the traditional soups and fish for maximum food value. You're paying for the safety and efficiency, but you must constantly hunt for the actual magic.
And despite all the cost-saving measures, be warned, your wallet will still hurt. The Arctic demands a premium.
So, to synthesize this entire deep dive, the ultimate truth about Lapland is that the magic you seek, the silence, the beauty, the vastness, the true polar night aesthetic is entirely accessible. But the traveler must actively silence the noise of the massive tourism industry to hear it.
That is the perfect encapsulation. You are fighting the logistics and the commerce to get to the spiritual reward. And for our final provocative thought for you to chew on, the trip is mentally safe and incredibly fulfilling. You check off the bucket list, you feel the peace of the cosmos. Yet it is simultaneously physically challenging and exhausting due to the constant management of temperature, layers, and footing on the ice.
And this profound trade-off between mental relaxation and physical exertion is the core reality of the true Arctic experience. That's the show.
Plan ahead, book by September, and value silence over souvenir shops. And seriously, never underestimate the power of a quality pair of wool socks. See ya.